Hello, and welcome to another episode. I am so excited that you're here, and I hope that I can brighten your day with some words of joy from you listening to this episode. So, you might be a little bit curious as to why I'm creating an episode about business affirmations and the power of them. But let me tell you, affirmations and the words that we tell ourselves are hugely important. It's been transformational for me personally in helping to refocus, realign, and reconnect with my joy, while simultaneously giving me permission to be fully me. But what do I mean by this? Words have power. They carry meaning. They shape what we think, how we behave, and how we feel. And they can mean very different things and elicit very different responses. We tell stories with our words, which affect us. They affect the relationships that we have with ourselves, with our business, with our consistency, with our relationships, with our service or product we provide, literally everything. And the energy we attach and put behind those words can make or break us. If you just think about Martin Luther King and the powerful words he used in his famous speech, "I have a dream," that acted as such a motivating force for people to create change. Now, you may be thinking, well, of course words have power, because when I say negative ones, I feel bad, and when I say positive ones, I feel a bit better. But I want to highlight just how important it is for you to monitor what you think and what you say to yourself, because the studies that I'm going to talk to you about now are really quite shocking. So there's been some scientific studies that actually show that positive and negative words not only affect us on a deep psychological level, but they have a significant impact on the outcome of our lives. And in a neuroscience experiment called Do Words Hurt, led by Maria Richter, where scientists monitored subjects' brain responses to auditory and imagined negative words, what they found was their study proved that negative words release stress and anxiety-inducing hormones in its subjects. And it also showed that it can cause longer-term anxiety too. So if negative words and thoughts can produce stress-releasing hormones and anxiety-inducing hormones, then what can positive words do? There's a book called Words Can Change Your Brain by Dr. Andrew Newberg, who's a neuroscientist, and Mark Robert Waldman, who is a communications expert. And they wrote in their book, by holding a positive and optimistic word in your mind, you stimulate frontal lobe activity. This area includes specific language centers that connect directly to the motor cortex, responsible for moving you into action. And as our research has shown, the longer you concentrate on words, the more you begin to affect other areas of the brain. So what they're basically saying there is that holding a positive view of ourselves helps to train our brain to think better about ourselves, the world around us, and others. Which is why paying attention to what we think and the words we use are just so very important. And this is where affirmations can be truly amazing. Now, if you're new to affirmations, they are sentences that you have either created yourself or heard from someone else, and you can use them as your own to help you make you feel a bit better, strive you into action, or to help you feel positive in some way. Now, I haven't always loved affirmations. I used to read some of them and my brain would be like, yeah, right. I do not believe that for 1 second. And it wasn't until I started to use affirmations in a way that really supported me and moved me into feeling a positive emotion that I discovered the power of them. If you've listened to one of my previous episodes, then you'll know I shared one affirmation that has been really powerful for me when times have just felt a bit stuck and a bit sticky and a bit tough. I'll share it here as well, but I would really recommend you listening to that too, as well, just to get the full understanding of it. So I'll leave the link in the show notes. But the affirmation goes something like this. I can feel all the feels and still be a badass. Now, I love this because it acknowledges the very humanness of ourselves, and that as women, we have a lot going on which we need to process. These things can distract or derail us as we try to push them away and refocus, but sometimes it just doesn't work. So allowing myself that first part of the affirmation, which is I can feel all the feels, allows me to feel everything for a certain period of time. And the second part is the permission to still go for my dreams in spite of everything that's going on around me. It just made me feel so empowered when I had created it, and was the first time I really felt like affirmations could work for me. There's a quote by Simone Weil, which I really love, from her book, The Power of Words, where she says, "There are certain words which possess in themselves, when properly used, a virtue which illumines and lifts up towards the good." I felt like I had finally cracked that when I created my first affirmation that made me feel connected to the words and lifted me up whenever I needed it. So if you want to create your own affirmations, then let's just break down a very simple process through answering some of these questions so that you can create something that feels amazing for you. So the first question is, what area am I struggling with right now that I'd like to change my thinking on? The second question is, how would I like to change my thinking on it? And then the third question is, do these words make me feel good, want to take action in some way, or give me permission to do what I really want to do? So let's go through a little example of this. An area I was struggling with previously was burnout and feeling overwhelmed and a bit emotional. And yet I also wanted to show up for my coaching clients and my membership for my beauty brands. What I believed to be true was that I could feel all the emotions of overwhelm and allow myself to feel them all fully without then letting it derail the day, which is why I created I Can Feel All the Feels and Be a Badass. I also used the word badass because it made me smile, giving me a little pep in my step, and also helped me to lighten the mood of what I was feeling at the time. And finally, I looked at those words and knew in my body that they gave me permission to feel what I needed to, and then get back up to focusing on what I had to keep the business going and showing up just to hold space for my clients as well. So just to recap, if you're wanting to create your own affirmation, then just ask yourself these three questions. So the first one is, what area am I struggling with right now that I would like to change my thinking on? How would I like to change my thinking on it? And do the words I've created make me feel good, want to take action in some way, or give me permission to do what I really want to do? So there are a few more that I've made up here, which I would love to get your opinion on, to see if any of these resonate, because I know sometimes people struggle with creating their own. So feel free to borrow the ones I've created. And if they resonate, please do let me know. And if not, I would love to hear an affirmation that works for you, so I can create a PDF of all of them to share. So these are some business affirmations for joy. I get to do this work each and every day. I am so lucky. I'm falling in love with the process and not the outcome. I can't do this yet, but I know with some practice I can do and achieve anything. Relax, it's just social media. I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. Investing in me will help me build my wealth. I'm growing my wealth and working on my health every day. I'm steadily building the greatest story of my life. I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. My energy is everything. Let it be a game. Let it be easy and fun. Money comes to me in the most unexpected ways. It takes courage to believe that good things are coming when times are tough. Believe anyway. You don't get to your next level by playing at your current level. So let's do this. I'm doing the best I can right now with the time and resources I have, and my best is enough. Rest is revolutionary. Let's show them what I've got. I'm being brave enough to suck at something new right now, but I know with a little patience and some practice, I'll get better. Now, you'll see that these affirmations aren't saying, I'm a millionaire in the making, or I'm divine feminine force and transmuting X, Y, and Z. And I mean, you absolutely can have the affirmations like that if they make you feel good. And I love a bit of woo energy. So whatever is going to make you feel positive. But these are more tangible affirmations that remind you of being human and that you're building a business. And they take the pressure off the results and move it more into the present moment of what can I achieve right now, regardless of the outcome. We put so much pressure on ourselves through words like, I have to make it to 7 figures, or I'm a failure, or I'm a failure because I'm not as successful as them. And when we try and measure ourselves against someone who had a completely different upbringing, emotionally and physically, just as a side note, emotional privilege is a real thing, and more on that in another episode. They may have had different support or circumstances. So let's stop with the negative words we use on ourselves and add in a little humor, as it's amazing for diffusing our own ego in hard situations and be kinder and a bit more compassionate to ourselves. So I'm going to write a few more affirmations on my blog post, so you can head on over to ailishlucas.com, which is AILISHLUCAS.com, to get a free PDF of all those. So do let me know which one you like the most and why. And I believe that we really do have everything we need inside of ourselves to make our dreams come true. And it's when we can be our own cheerleader and tell ourselves positive things that we can make those possibilities a reality, because our thoughts become words, our words become feelings, and our feelings determine our action. So go get them, sugar. You've got this, and I've got you. Now, if you liked this episode, then it would bring me so much joy if you could subscribe, rate, and review my podcast, and head on over to ailishlucas.com for more inspiration to spark joy and a space to remind you who you truly are. Thanks so much for listening. Bye for now.